All right, my friend, Coach Grant Eilertson here, and welcome back to Confessions of a Closer, the interview series where I pull back the curtain to interview other sales reps and entrepreneurs who are consistently closing over 100 grand a month to share with you the tips, tools, and tactics that you can use right away to close a lot more sales and change more lives. So today, I've got an absolute freaking stud with me. He goes by PD, but this is Pedram Shirgir. And I am super excited to bring him on here because as far as don't give a fuck energy going right into closing massive deals, well, this guy lives it. And I almost forgot to hit record because we were knee deep in a great conversation actually about being detached from the sale and how that makes you magnetic. But before we dive back into that, PD, can you give the peeps watching just a quick, 30-second overview of who you are, how you help, and we'll dive into the meat and potatoes from there.
Yeah, so it was a great intro, by the way. I mean, you nailed it.
Boom.
Can we give this guy a little bit of credit? I mean, that was beautifully done. There was an alliteration in there. He threw an alliteration in there. I want you guys to recognize that. That was dope.
There we go. And real quick, this video, as all, are sponsored by the like button. So the only tuition we ask of you in exchange for watching these gold nuggets get dropped on your head is you just smash that like button. Helps us out a ton in the YouTube algorithm. And for that, I am forever grateful. So PD, I'm off my soapbox. Take it away, bro.
For sure. I mean, here's the thing. I think like you and I have a lot in common. I think what we do in business in life is pretty similar in terms of who it is that we're trying to support. I was a gym owner or a personal trainer for 12 years. I really saw the gaps in terms of the perspective that coaches had in the space. A lot of personal trainers impersonating coaches, and they'll readily tell you there's a lot of imposter syndrome in this business. Because a lot of people don't necessarily know what coaching actually looks like. They're very, here's your macros, here's your fitness, and then on to the next. And for me, it's a lot more than that. Fitness and nutrition are byproducts of decision-making and beliefs and thought processes and values of self. And oftentimes when those things are overlooked, we're not actually solving the real problem, we're solving the symptoms. And I've gone through a whole lot of health issues in my life and a whole lot of ups and downs in business and investing and so on and so forth. And I can tell you right now, it's like having that understanding of self and becoming aware of my personal values and my personal beliefs has helped me translate that to others so that they can serve people at a different level, at a higher level, one that actually allows for them to gain the value within their business that they deserve, and also step into the version of themselves that actually they're proud of. Like, the thing, solving people's problems at the level that they know they're capable of, just haven't felt comfortable doing or stepping into that role. And that's what I do in my process, is just allowing and giving allowance to people to step into the version of themselves that serve at a high level, whether that's in sales, whether that's in marketing, whether that's in mindset or energy or whatever the case is. I want people to learn how to become the best version of themselves, not me, not you, not any other coach in the space, because once they own it, it's theirs. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to teach somebody what's theirs.
Yeah. And, I want to dive back into what we were talking about right before I hit record, which, and to tee this up, it's crazy because we both know, 90 to 95% of the business coaches to fit pros in the space are actually failed fit pros that never made any money in their own business and miraculously figured, hey, I can make more money by pretending I know how to build a business and sell others the pipe dream.
Yeah. The infamous pivot.
The infamous pivot, right?
Yes, absolutely.
It's probably the most insidious disease that's out there right now in this space. But you were saying something that I wholeheartedly resonate with, and it's why most people who, make that pivot and then they try and coach have completely unsuccessful clients, and it's that they're trying to teach them to be them. And even if they were successful, let's take off the table, for example, the failures that are pretending. Even if they were successful, trying to duplicate themselves just never works. And you brought up the point of being true to yourself. And what I like to say is the hardest thing, but the most important thing to do is to figure out who you actually are and do that on purpose. So I want to hear your thoughts just on that, unbiased, unfiltered.
Yeah, what's interesting is that you were talking about them trying to teach other people to be who they are, but it actually goes one level deeper than that. They're actually trying to teach people what they were taught to be, which is someone else. which is why they struggle to be successful in their business, which is why they pivoted into this business, which is why they're just regurgitating old information that they learned from somebody else that never got them anywhere, but now they can pawn off as value to others. And so the deeper issue is that they don't even know who they are. And they're teaching others to be someone else that they're not, that they learn to try to be. And that's what this ripple effect of failure happens in this business. It's imposters teaching imposters how to be imposters. And it's like this ripple effect that creates such an insecurity and an overwhelm and an overanalyzation and overthinking that in reality, it's like, why are you even in the coaching space? The coaching space is, I am learning how to work and manage and overcome and become the best version of myself. But in reality, what you're doing is trying to be this perfect version of someone else, which is never going to happen. So you'll always be a failure, and you're teaching other people and reflecting to other people how to not do it, which is why we should be very grateful, because in reality, they're leaving a lot of room for us to come in and actually add value to the space. So I tip my cap to all of you who are impostering imposters, teaching imposters how to become imposters, because I will reap the benefits by just being a real motherfucker.
Yeah. Dude, how many times have you seen your company's stuff ripped off by other companies? Because it just happened to us literally this last week. Again, we had some more testimonials straight up stolen.
Testimonials, bro. We've had a $100 million business that claims to be 100 millionaires in the ClickFunnels space, and they have all the awards and all the prestige, no pun intended. And they came into our free group with their little troops. They literally have a department in their business. I know this from the inside, knowing people that have worked. They have a department on the inside of their program that literally goes to steal other people's business models and imprint it into their own. Yes, this is a common understanding. People in the industry know that they do this, and they still can do it because they have so much money. And all that really matters is that they are giving you the stuff. And which is why, like, I feed off of this shit. I feed off of calling this stuff out because everyone's afraid to call the 100 millionaire out. Nobody wants to expose the truth of the people who are making all the money because for some reason they think, I'll need that 100 millionaire down the road one day. That 100 millionaire can give me money one day or support me or provide me value. Bullshit. If you're sitting here waiting for this 100 millionaire to help you become successful, you are probably never going to be successful.
Yeah, you're going to be waiting a long time.
Yeah, wait a long time. So instead of wasting your time not being truthful and honest and not exposing this bullshit for what it is, you just follow along like a trail donkey thinking that whatever this person says is gospel. And I'm not going to do it, bro. I literally, if I didn't work on spite, I probably wouldn't be in this industry anymore because I don't have anything to prove. All I want to do is kind of burn the industry down and start over. And
it's funny you say that because that's like the whole purpose of this YouTube channel is I've been through a whole bunch of sales courses in the past, and I've been consistently disappointed by what's kept behind the paywall. I'm like, fuck it. I'll just put all the best stuff out there for free. Then what are you going to do? And this is why I love you and reading all your content. Like you're starred on my Facebook newsfeed just so I can see what PD's up to. Because for anyone that doesn't know, PD made some real fuck you money this year in crypto. And so what I've seen from you is like, and this isn't new, like you've always had this edge about you, but just this level of don't give a fuck. Like I'm just here to make a difference, not to be liked, makes such an impact on people. And I want you to kind of share just from your own experience, maybe of what it's been like stepping more and more into that, because so many people are afraid to be polarizing, afraid to put their authentic selves out there. I think for fear of judgment more than anything else. But what's it been like for you, man?
I appreciate you saying that. Honestly, it means a lot to me because, man, I have struggled my entire life financially. I've had my ups and downs. I've had good moments. I've been successful. Like I've made a lot of money for a while. What I did with my money, not the smartest at the time, maybe.
Yeah.
But realistically, I've always been very convicted in everything that I do. I have a hard time. That's why I never got a job. That's why I forced myself to get a college degree just to get my parents to leave me alone. Was I don't operate well when I'm not convicted. I don't operate when I'm not convicted. But I can tell you what I do is always going to be convicted because it's the things that I enjoy doing. I enjoy speaking my truth because it feels good. And it's funny because a lot of my spite now, a lot of my resentment now comes from, I remember a year and a half ago, I had nothing. I was nobody in this industry. I wasn't even online for people to know who I was. I was barely even using social media. I was in my little 3,200 square foot gym every day, just pumping out the sessions, trying to make my dollar, trying to pay my bills, trying to get through the next day. And when I came online, nobody wanted to give me an opportunity. I remember so many gurus that I looked up to at the time because I was green. I had no idea. And I was looking for job opportunities. I was looking for ways to fit in, to be able to provide value to these businesses because I knew what I could do, but I had to prove myself. And I can list probably on two hands gurus or very successful people or people that I looked up to at that time that completely brushed me off, didn't even give me the time of day. And now these same people are in my DM every day and asking me questions, wanting my help. And the funny thing is about this, or in my stories, creeping my stories every day. 100 millionaire, bro, you're 100 millionaire. Get out of my stories. You have better things to do with your life, honestly. But part of it now for me is I feed off of that. Those people that didn't give me the time of day, those are the people now that I want to expose. Because I think you're talking about insidious. People don't want anything to do with you until you have some value to provide them. And that's when they come to you. And for me, I've treated everyone the same. I am direct, I'm honest, and you know exactly what you're going to get from me. That may piss you off and you may really like that, but at least I'm consistent. And what I don't appreciate is inconsistency. What I don't appreciate is people who claim to be something, have themselves on a pedestal, look at you as if you're a minion until they see something that they can get from you. And then they treat you well. And I don't fuck with that. I don't cater to that, and I will not bend over for that. And in fact, I will continue to call people out on that bullshit because I don't need them and I don't want them. Quite honestly, I want to expose them. And if people can determine whatever they want, and the beauty of this, Grant, man, is so many people have been in my DMs about the people that I've been exposing, agreeing with me tenfold, saying, you don't even know half the stuff I know. You have no clue how bad it really is. From the outside looking in, you have no clue. Yeah. I'm looking at them like, why don't you guys comment on the public profile instead of getting in my DM? What are you afraid of?
Grow a backbone, bro. Speak your own fucking truth.
Yeah. Why don't you stop trying to relate to me? I'm not here for your relationship. I mean, I want to build strong relationships, but it's not built on the idea of, hey, I didn't like this person either, so now let's be best friends. You are not willing to call this person out. I still don't respect you.
Yeah. No, it's these people that have that pattern is what I call the conspiracy of mediocrity. They want to be all secretive about how much they hate what's going on in the space, but not actually stand up and be a voice for change. And so that's why I really love and appreciate the few voices who are willing to just be out there and tell it like it is, you know?
It definitely helps. It definitely helps that I'm financially free, right? Because now it's not, here's the thing. I think you've known me for quite a while. I've been pretty vocal about my discontent, but it's amplified now more than ever because I can say, fuck you. I don't need any of this. Yeah. And I think that helps. But there's a lot of people who would be like, now I have this and I don't want to lose it. And I've never been afraid to lose everything because I've never had anything.
Well, that's why you have it. If you're afraid constantly of losing something, what are you attracting into your experience of life? You're going to lose it. It's the people that are truly detached that create the wealth in the first place. You don't just get wealthy and then you become detached.
Yeah.
It's the other way around.
Exactly. And there's so many people who are circumstantial in their belief process, right? Like I have to see it to believe it before I believe it in order to be able to see it. Like if I didn't believe in this dumpster fire that we call cryptocurrency for the last 3 years and burn every dollar that I had for 3 years and lose almost everything, but hold my shit together until it finally happened, I wouldn't be here right now being able to talk about that. But now all these people that are chasing the market and trying to get in, this is such an amazing time to be alive. We are getting such amazing feedback from market psychology. If the market doesn't reflect with absolute magnified clarity the extent in which human psychology operates, nothing ever will. Especially when FOMO is at this level, especially when fear is at this level, you get to see people's truth, man, on the day-to-day, on the moment-to-moment. How do you experience struggle and pain? What do you do? And then don't come to me and tell me I deserve success, I deserve financial freedom, but I'm not willing to experience what it takes to get there and what it takes to the skills I need to learn to have that experience.
You did a good post, actually, like very close to this same through line. And that's, if you can't withstand the pain, you don't deserve the pleasure.
Yep.
And that's 100%. Huge, because so many people just like, yes, you're deserving of everything that you want in life, provided you're willing to do what it takes to get it. But that's where most people completely miss the mark, is like, oh yes, I am finally worthy of everything that I want. And that's great to believe that. But
affirmations are
awesome.
Yeah.
Because if you don't believe in yourself, you won't take any action in the first place. Right. And then naturally there's no evidence. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But like, it doesn't matter how much you believe in yourself. If you do nothing, you're going to get nothing. And it grinds my gears, man. It grinds my gears. But
I'm with you 100%. The expectation model in a lot of people is, it's why we're in this business, man.
Oh yeah. Well, here's something I'm noticing as a through line of like real high performers is the conviction, just the drive, the obsession with things that really light you up. That's key. If you can be obsessed with something and figure out how to, use that obsession to help improve other people's lives at a profit, your earning potential is limitless. And so maybe oh yeah, what do you got?
You know what's wild, man?
Hit me.
One of the things that I have come across recently is like I've been giving away all this. I don't even call it giving away. Sharing my personal journey through my investment experience.
Okay? Yeah. You got a dope group. Plug for the group. Moonshot. Epic.
Moonshot 21. If you guys want to join the group, feel free. There's nothing to sell you there. It's wild.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah. And so here's what I'm really getting at, which is what I want to see happen more of. And don't get me wrong, this is by no means any moral high ground from my behalf, because I am the last person who is going to claim to have any high standing morals. Okay. It's not what I'm getting at whatsoever. I shared my personal experience probably for the last 4 to 5 months on social media, through my stories, through my personal profile, talking about my decision making, talking about what trades I was making, talking about what coins I was swapping, because they're not investments. Taylor Welsh told me that they're not investments.
Yeah, definitely not investing, bro.
No, it's not investing. It's coin
If it's not real estate, it's not investing.
Right. If you didn't rent it, you didn't actually earn it, and you're not elite. Just wanted to let you know.
See, look, you're missing out on that $200 a month. What the fuck, man?
All I need to do is leverage $300,000 of my own personal capital, put it in debt with an interest rate on top of it that's compounding debt, to earn a potential $200 to $400 a month profit per property. I calculated this today. If I do $1.5 million in housing and rental investments, I can make at least $1,500 a month in passive income with only, $5,000 to $10,000 of overhead and liability on a monthly basis. No big deal. It's fine. It's a great investment strategy. But to get back to what I was referring to was, you mentioned adding value to people's lives for a profit. And I'm a capitalist. I want to make money. And if I'm going to give you my time and my energy, I believe that it's worth an investment. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But with like the investment side of things, why I shared was not to do anything but to be like, hey guys, wake up. there's an opportunity here, and I don't need to make money off of you to share this experience with you. In fact, this is bigger than online marketing. This is bigger than building an online business. This is human beings understanding what's been happening from a systematic standpoint and the underlying fiber of what drives economy in terms of the financial system, that this is really wrong. And we should come together and recognize this. If that we can get unified around anything, it can be this, so that we can come back together again after a year of separation to like, hey, we all have a common thing again. And we can all get really wealthy off of this if we do this correctly. And we can actually make a change in maybe the system and how we operate and how we live. So yeah, I'm going to share that because I thought, why should I capitalize on this? It doesn't matter. Like, I'll get the value I get will be from seeing other people, trickle this down into their families and their lives. And that'll be fulfilling to me. I can make money in other ways. And what's crazy about this, man, is I did that with absolutely no expectations or intentions. And the amount of money that I'm going to earn from doing that, I would have never, I don't want to speak about the actual amount of money that has been put in my hands because of it. But I'll say, if I would have built a course or sold something or did a mentorship or offered something, I wouldn't have made 10% of how much money I've earned from doing something unintentionally with no expectations.
Yeah.
And I still didn't even ask for it. I didn't even pitch it. It was brought to me. And I think that is something that we should be able to take away in the online marketing space and sales space, that sometimes if you believe in something enough and it's meaningful enough to you, you don't have to try to profit off of it to actually profit off of it.
Mm. Who was it? Was it Zig? Zig Ziglar said, like, if you help enough people become wealthy, you will become wealthy as an inevitable byproduct. It was something along those lines.
Along those. Yeah,
I'm terrible with quotes.
Yeah,
but
I don't read enough to have quotes. But yeah, I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, if you can help enough people in life, your profit is guaranteed, and that's just a universal law. So here's a chance for me to thank you personally, face to face. You made me a lot of money in crypto this year.
Awesome, man.
I'm really grateful for that. Yeah,
that's awesome to hear, man.
But I want to circle back to what we were kind of diving into just a little bit with obsession and conviction. Now, because there's people that are watching this interview that are nowhere close to the amount of business that you and I have generated, but really there's nothing special about us. And if they see any similarities right now in like how you or I think about things, then chances are there's a lot of potential in front of them. So from that lens, if you could give your past self any advice in regards to like moving into sales, right? Because you've made plenty of money in sales now. What advice would you give your former self if you could?
Oh, this is a good question. And I have the answer for this. Is find your lane and stick to it. Find the thing that is, I don't want to say easy for you, but is natural for you. And practice it and do it in real life every single day. And implement on that process and hone that craft every single day, because that craft inevitably will set you apart and put you in the 1% of your field, no matter what it is that you do. Because if you love doing it and you're really good at it and it's natural to you, that's your zone of genius. And the more you try to fight that zone of genius by trying to do so many things, and this could be, there's a lot of people that are successful that have multiple ventures and so many different things, and they're able to have the resources and the time to be able to manage those things. But for me, the thing that has brought me to where I'm at right now was I used to own a gym. I used to manage like 6 or 7 people. I used to have hundreds of clients, and I had so much bandwidth being spread so thin in so many different places. It didn't matter how much money I made. I was totally unhappy, totally unfulfilled, overworked, overstressed on so many levels. When I started focusing on sales, which is something that, like, I don't have to, I've taken a sales course. I've worked with some sales coaches, But what I realized was the more I tried to be like them, the more I hated what I was doing and dreaded it. And it wasn't because it was them, it was because I was trying to be something energetically other than myself. And when I owned that space of me, just getting to show up on these calls every day, how I want to show up, unscripted, unfiltered, raw, willing to be honest and open and direct with people. It's like, dude, it's like me and you having a conversation. And when I
Yeah.
believe in what I believe in more than what you believe in, if that makes sense, I usually win that game. And it's
Yeah.
not, and for me, it's not, I'm not even trying to win the game. I'm just playing the game. And the beauty of playing the game the way I want to play it allows for me to not care if I win or if I lose. And generally, because of that, I win. And and it all comes down to me focusing on the things that I'm sound and solid at, and surrounding myself with people who fill the gaps that I don't enjoy doing, or maybe I'm not great at, or don't necessarily have the bandwidth for. So I always thought about, like, I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to be the head of the, like, I have learned I can lead from behind and be even more successful.
Yeah. Dude, you just unpacked like 5 extremely important things that could fill up in and of themselves an hour each. And
Yeah.
One of those things that I really resonate with, and I actually learned this in full transparency from one of my old coaches and now friends, Eli Wild. And it's what he calls persona fatigue, right? And it's like wearing this mask so much that you end up just completely fatiguing yourself and running out of energy. This is like trying to emulate someone else instead of what you said. Find out who you are, do that on purpose. But another part of that you mentioned that I think intimidates a lot of people, and it kind of did for me, is like this idea of, follow your passion. And it's like, if you already resonate with the word passion, you're like, yes, this is it, I'm totally in. Great. That's great for you. But a lot of people actually struggle to kind of get in touch with that in the first place. And so that keeps them from moving. And so what I like to say is, don't follow your passion, follow your curiosity. Because if you're curious enough to learn about it every day, over time, you'll be unstoppable.
Yes, passion is bullshit. I'm sorry. I don't mean that like in a negative context. I mean, it's like leaning on motivation to be successful.
Yeah.
Right. I'll be honest with you. Me doing sales calls is not my passion. My passion is communicating with people on a real, deep, valuable level. And if I can do that on sales calls and help them solve real life problems, now I'm able to actually implement what I enjoy doing. My passion is not the sales calls. My passion is the ability to communicate on a level that's meaningful. I can do that all day. Me and you can have a 10-hour conversation and I'll feel like it was 30 minutes because I'm talking about something that means something to me. So I'm energetic about it, and time doesn't actually, like, doesn't even matter anymore. Right.
Yeah.
So I agree 100%. It's not a passion thing. And realistically, I wouldn't say that I'm particularly curious about sales. I'm particularly curious about human psychology.
Same. I was going to say the exact same thing. Like, sales is just a byproduct of being curious about how people operate. And I see that in you. And that's why I was excited to bring you on here, because we've got a very similar lens with that. What are some of the most fascinating things you've learned from people since being in sales?
Good or bad?
Both.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't even know if I've thought about that. What have I learned from people? People are very stuff driven. Consumers are unfortunately incredibly undereducated in consumption, like the practice of consumption.
How do you mean by that?
Their buying habits are built on this idea of like gurus and tactics and strategies.
The next shiny thing.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you can say shiny object syndrome, but in reality, let's take that one level deeper. What are those shiny objects? What are those things that they're actually focusing on? And why are they focusing on those things? and what led them to believe that those are the things that they should be focusing on. And this is how I unpack psychology, and which is how I am able to do sales effectively. Is I'm just interested to see how you got where you got to with your beliefs and your thoughts, and how those line up with what you actually want in your life. And do you even know what you want in your life? So is what you're doing in alignment with anything, or is it a hope and a prayer? And then now we can actually really identify some real problems and the gaps and where we need to start with working on how to improve the quality of your life. That's fun.
Yeah. It's so sad actually to see the amount of people that are like looking for tips and advice to get things done. But those things, even if they were done, don't move them towards who they really want to be and their ideal experience of life. Because like you said, a lot of people just don't actually know who they are or what they want. And even people that'll quote Stephen Covey and be like, start with the end in mind. It's like, great. So what is your life's vision? Where are you really going? What's the whole point of all of this?
Yeah, I think the thing that I would probably, if I could pinpoint one thing that I'm recognizing from the consumer standpoint, that the pattern is that they're all working on building their business and hoping that their identity catches up.
That is such a good way to put it. Yep. Your business can't outgrow you. And if it does, it's like a tree growing before its roots do. Any wind, it's on the ground.
Yeah, 100%. And that is why it's so easy to do sales in this industry. Is because everybody has the cart before the horse.
Mm-hmm.
And they're pushing the horse into the cart, hoping that this is the most effective way to move their business. They're all hoping that their business can blow up and eventually they can become the version of themselves that has that business. And I hate to break it to you, that's never going to happen.
No, it's so we teach, it's not like the forefront of our coaching anymore, but it was kind of the foundation of our business when we were first looking at like, how can we disrupt the space? And it was shifting people's belief system from do have be to be do have, right? Mm-hmm. Like if I do those things that it seems like I'm supposed to do, then I'll have what I want and then I'll be happy. Mm. And it never works that way. But still, this is what like popular culture pushes us towards is you just got to do what I did, man. And you'll 10X all your results and you'll have all the things you want. And then you'll finally be happy with yourself. Right.
You know what it is, Grant, is that the whole idea of not reinventing the wheel has been misinterpreted. Not reinventing the wheel, a lot of people have interpreted as do what others have done that have made them successful.
Yeah.
But in reality, not reinventing the wheel actually means not changing who the fuck you are to try to accommodate being someone else to achieve what they achieved. Rather, be who you are and achieve what you achieve because you are who you are.
Yep. If you're being that person, inevitably you will do the things. And as an inevitable byproduct, then you'll have more than you could even fathom at this point. But it starts with the being, because you can't manufacture the doing. Otherwise you create that persona fatigue. It's got to be the person that actually deserves the results. And you can ask yourself, like, the person that has those things, is it what they're doing? No, it's who they're being. That's why the actions just flow naturally. And if people actually taught that in the coaching space more often, we wouldn't have these program hoppers that go like, well, I did that. It doesn't work for me. Like, well, those things work for a whole lot of other people. Why do you think they didn't work for you? That's right, because you weren't being the right person. That might actually suck to hear for the people that have gone through a whole bunch of programs and still haven't hit success.
I also think they might think that it's like woo. They're like, oh, but I should be able to buy something and implement it and be successful. And maybe you should, maybe you could. It might not be in the high ticket coaching space, but it could be in like affiliate marketing. It could be in MLM marketing. It could be in low ticket offers. Maybe you're just trying to buy the wrong thing for the wrong thing. And because of that, there's conflict. There's so much nuance within this. And like, dude, I grew up very unwealthy. like unwealthy. You know what I mean? Like I had nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're very familiar with the taste of top ramen, 10 cents a piece.
Yeah, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like getting through the day. And so I've always been the type of person who doesn't really need a lot to survive. I know how to survive, but there was always things that and here's what's really, you talk about persona fatigue on another level. I thought the qualities about me that had the passion and the conviction and the certainty and a little bit of rage and a little bit of anger and a little bit of resentment and a little bit of spite behind it were flaws in my persona. And so I spent a long time hiding behind them and trying to cover it up with other people's things. And what I realized is those qualities that I've always had were the exact qualities that I needed to be tapping into and leveraging because other people are afraid to. And if I can, then it'll set me apart.
League of
It'll
your
allow,
own.
that's it. I play my own game. And ironically, I never, I'm happy to like call on every past client I've ever worked with, whether it's training, whether it's online coaching, whether it's sales, whatever it is, and have them give an honest feedback as to what their experience was with me. And the reason why that is because it's always been the same person that they're getting. Nothing's ever changed, meaning that I was being this version of myself that has now finally achieved some level of financial freedom. But the reason why I was able to achieve that was the culmination of the consistency of just being myself, even when it wasn't financially working, right? Nothing's changed since I got to this point. I don't have nice things. I don't go out and buy really, and that's okay if you do, right? Like there's nothing wrong with that. I don't get off on that. I get off on taking my money and making it far more money. And I look at if I was to spend my money doing something else, well, that's less money I can have trying to make even more of it. And it's a game to me now, right? Like I want to see how much of this game can I win at? Because in reality, what's happening in my eyes, in my vision, in this world, that's the most important thing is literally the most impactful wealth transfer of our generation, of our history, of our lives. And those that play the game will have the wealth transferred to them. And those that do not will be giving away the rest of whatever they have left to those that are. And this is the time for us to wake the fuck up. And in life, relationships, business, investing, whatever it is, be the fucking person that accomplishes the things that you want versus hoping to accomplish things so that you can have things so that you can be that person. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Dude, I gotta nail down on this. It was like a little train of thought that I was like, okay, we gotta hit this. And actually, there's two things. So before we wrap up, we gotta make sure we hit them both. So remind me if I forget one. When you were talking about how you viewed some of those character traits of yourself as flawed, and so you would hide them or hide behind them and try and stuff them down, pretend like they weren't there. That was me with two very specific things. And it's funny because if you watch any of my content, you probably have the exact opposite impression of me. Well, it's because I was engineered so much. I am absolutely delusional, and I have a lot more fear than you probably would have realized. And those two things created so much pressure in my life. But from the pressure, diamonds were created. And looking back, I was frustrated. So I was talking with my coach, Reggie. I was like, man, what the hell's going on? I feel like all I meet lately are just completely delusional, scared people who are afraid to do what they want. And he's like, well, you realize, brother, that's because it's in you too. And you're just not looking at it, right? So that's why you're experiencing the polarity, the negative side of that sword. So I started looking at it and I go, of course, this is just the mirror to the side of me that I'm judging. But the cool thing is, looking back in my life of where was I delusional? Where have I been fearful? Well, shit. That's like being delusional enough for me to hire a business coach for what at the time was literally just a hobby in disguise of a business, not making any money, but I hired a business coach instead of paying my electric bill one month. So I went for a week with no refrigerator or lights because I was delusional enough to believe my dream had merit before I had the evidence. And it's stuff like that where if I wasn't delusional, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have the impact that I do. And so a movie, if you haven't seen it, it's called Inside Out. It's cute. It's like a Disney Pixar thing, but it actually goes through our relationship with our emotions. And this girl basically starts ruining her life because she is told by her parents, like, mommy and daddy just need you to be happy right now. So Joy was running the show until Joy got burnt out and everything fell to shit. Turned out sadness was the key. Just living through a little bit of that allowed her to get back to an authentic self-expression and life got good again. So ask yourself as a viewer of this, what part of me am I suppressing? What part of me am I villainizing? What part of me am I trying to avoid because I think that's a flaw? And how could I possibly find the polarity of that, live through it, and create my own superpower from it? Because what you said about how if you can do that, puts you in a league of your own. If the viewers get that, that's going to be the one thing that quite possibly changes their whole fucking life.
Yeah. It's something I've learned in my experience working with someone through my anger issues, because there's definitely some deep-rooted stuff.
What? Never would have guessed.
Yeah, you'd have never guessed, right? One thing I've learned is to express it and not care, because I was always afraid that, like, if I express my anger, people won't like it, or people won't appreciate it, or people will judge it. And in reality, that's like, not sharing my truth is actually not sharing real what love is. Love is truth. It's not lying to you, right? And so, you talk about like the personality or the existence of that pressure. And one thing I've learned for myself is when I have internal pressure, or I'm limiting myself, or not putting myself in positions to thrive, I quell the external pressure. But when I reduce the inner pressure by exuding what's real, I increase the external pressure. And it's always a balancing effect, right? This is balancing act of, am I internally pressurizing or externally pressurizing? And understanding there's a balance there. And oftentimes people will take the internal pressure over the external because they're afraid of what could come from that. But they don't actually take into consideration what's happening internally. When all you're doing is putting the pressure and suppressing it down, pushing it down, that pressure will pop. And it'll inevitably create something that you never wanted. But in reality, subconsciously, you actually did. Is why you did all the things that you did and said the things that you said and created the pressure that you did and didn't express it effectively. And that's the biggest thing, is like, effective expression of your emotions and learning how to communicate with people at a high level. You'll probably be pretty successful in anything you do in business.
Well, yeah, especially when you realize and truly grasp that people make purchasing decisions emotionally, and then they back them up with logic later. The more in touch you are with your own emotions, the easier it'll be to help other people get in touch with their emotions. And in the context of sales, guess what? That's like the most effective thing you can do.
You know what's ironic, man? And
Tell me.
I talk about this recently a lot. It's like in sales and marketing and business, there's these sets of rules that we need to govern ourselves by and understand to be able to implement, right? And just like in anything in art, right? You learn the rules in order to create, to break the rules, to create what you want, because you understand fundamentally how to get there, but you don't need to be inside the structure and inside this box to do it, right? So just understanding, like, allowing yourself to own your space, to own your version of yourself, to become, to exude the energy that's important to you, to express yourself through those mechanisms that align you with who you want to be, will inevitably take you exactly where it is you're supposed to be. And I think a lot of us want to go the long way. We want to take the long path. In reality, the short path is just experiencing the long path like it's what it is.
Yeah. One of my buddies likes to say that the longest distance between you and where you want to go is the shortcut. We try and circumvent the process, but just live your truth. Go through your own story. You'll get there a lot faster than if you try and shortcut the process with stuff that takes you out of alignment with who you actually are at your core. Because even if you get there, it'll crumble and you'll have to rebuild again from scratch.
That's it, man. we could talk about this for like 5 hours. We can't give all this value away to people. This is
I
too
know,
much.
this is crazy. Hey, if this has been helpful for you, remember to thank our video's sponsor today, the like button. Just go right down below, smash that little fucker, turn him blue. We appreciate it so much, and the algorithm will thank
Penetrate
you.
it.
Just boom.
That was fun,
Cracks me up. Dude, I wish we had all the time in the world, but unfortunately we don't. And that concludes today's episode of Confessions of a Closer. PD, anything you want to leave the peeps with? Just one last little nugget on your way out?
I don't know. Buy stuff from Grant. He's good.
All right. Well, I'll mirror that back to you. Go buy some shit from PD too. And even if you don't, even if you buy nothing from either of us, join his Facebook group, Moonshot. It is epic. It's made me a lot of money already this year. And I know he would love to have some more really cool, collaborative, not needy, not assholes, cool people in the group to collaborate and change our world's wealth together.
You know what
I got to preface that.
Yeah,
no needy peeps.
What I love about that is I set the boundaries, and the inside of those boundaries are the people that showed up with the right energy. And that's like what you can do with your business too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We could riff on boundaries for an hour too.
You said something about today in your post about no. And I just wanted to leave it with that. Like that is absolutely the most powerful tool in your tool belt in your life is no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Until you learn how to say no, your yes is worthless.
You're just a yes man. I literally, don't get me started. We can go for another hour.
I know. Well, drop down, comment below if you want me to bring PD back on here for round 2. If we get enough comments, or maybe we hit 69 likes just because we love it, we'll bring this.
If there's enough eggplant comments.
Yeah, eggplant comments. That's the comment you drop below if you want PD back on here.
Yeah, 100%.
I love it, man. Thanks for hopping on. This has been super fun. I appreciate you.
Man. Appreciate you having me.
Peace.
If you liked that video, just wait till you see the next one. And if you haven't already, go right down below me and hit subscribe.